Hello folks and welcome to my channel. Today at the time of filming is the 13th of August 2024 and we are going to do a channeling. Was Tina Turner the last person I channelled on here? Anyway, today is going to be Rik Mayall, comedian Rik Mayall. I first connected with Rik's energy the beginning of this year, I'm sure it was. We were watching past episodes of Bottom and stuff. I think it was a documentary actually. And I remember thinking to myself, God, I'd love to channel him. I bet that would be top. Anyway, this year's been a very busy year with many distractions in relation to YouTube work, and I'm now concentrating fully on this channel. And 2 or 3 weeks ago I was like, yeah, I want to channel him. I want him to be my first person I channel going forward this year. So I did what I normally do, and I go on, I look at dates of birth, I look at some pictures, I watch videos with the voice on, I just sit in their energy, but not just their energy but what they were on earth. And then as you do when you start to Google, you start to come across certain things, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this because there's controversies here. The controversies are questions around his death, certain things he said in certain films just before his passing, one in relation to the 2 towers falling, talking in code for a reason, of which I will leave clips below. So I'll leave clips below of a clip of him from a film where he's talking about 2 towers falling. I'm also going to leave you a clip where he's telling you about your televisions and what to do with them. I'm also going to leave you a clip where he's doing a speech at a university. And I think all 3 clips, and if there's anything else I come across, I'll pop it in the description, the pinned comment below, that'll be of interest to you. And I must admit I had a moment of thought, do I really want to jump into this? Because originally he'd come through and said he wanted to talk about the importance of fun. And I was like, I can deal with that, because fun is important. But then when I saw all the other stuff, the fact that when you go on and Google his family, it's almost like there's a blackout. You can't, I mean, I have tried, I didn't want to spend too long doing it, but I struggled. I mean, I may not be doing the right things, but I really struggled to find stuff of where his wife is now, where children are now. It feels blackouty, that's all I'll say. It just feels questionable. At one point I came across something that said his wife had died, and then I came across something that said she'd not, and I was like, I'm not doing it, I'm not channeling. And then I've just sat with it and it's like, actually I am. But the interesting thing is, and this came to me this morning, was we have just recently got rid of our Sky and we have stopped paying for our TV licence. And if you've seen the clip where he tells you what to do with your television, you'll understand the significance of that. And it's almost like I had to prove myself to Rik, because it's not that energy at all, but everything is frequency, and I can kind of get now where he's coming from, whereas Claire a few weeks ago, months ago, may not have been able to get that, but I can see the deeper meaning, as many of you will be able to see the deeper meaning of that, because we know that the television can be a power for good. But there's also a lot of, I mean, at the time of filming, BBC, we've got all kinds of things. It's Strictly Come Dancing or Strictly Ballroom, I don't know. Something, Dancing on Ice, something Strictly Come Dancing. Oh God, I don't know. But anyway, question marks about things that have been going on there. We've got lots of daytime television presenters, newscasters. It's all out there. You know, month by month of things that have been going on around television, daytime television, across the board. It's not just not just one person. Ooh, I love a hijack. It's not just one person. Ooh, what does that mean? It's a plethora. You see, it's a plethora. That's not my word. Claire doesn't use plethora. It's not just one person. It's a plethora. Anyway. And also as well, and what came to me at lunchtime today, because I'm doing this after my lunch, was that part of my awakening involved the two towers. I will call them the two towers for various reasons. The two towers, as if by magic. Because I went there, didn't I? Those of you that have seen those videos that I've done on here, where I talk about the part of my awakening in New York, involved that area, and involved insights in that area and reactions in that area. So connection, connection, connection. Anyway, let's do some facts and figures first. So, Rik Mayall, born on the 7th of March, I've got some notes by the way, born on the 7th of March 1958 and died 9th of June 2014. The way I do numerology, possibly different to everybody else. I got it to 33, which made me go, oh, because that's Christ consciousness, spiritual alignment and illumination, which, you know, he came to illuminate us. And obviously 3 and 3 is 6, which can be caregivers and being passionate about your family and those you love. And they can become creatives and entertainers. It's fascinating what one's numerology holds. So let's pop that there because I don't want that to distract me. There's no more notes on there. So for those of you that don't know, Rik Mayall, let me just get a wiki up of him. Rik Mayall, Richard Michael Mayall, we know the date of his birth and everything. Known professionally as Rik Mayall, was an English comedian, actor and writer. He formed close partnership with Ade Edmondson while they were students at Manchester University and was pioneer of alternative comedy in the 1980s. If I remember, I am going to try and put a picture up here at some point of Rik Mayall. One of the things he showed me, I think it was a couple of weeks ago when I was going to do this video but then changed my mind, was that, number one, before he showed me what he's going to show me, that he has a similar energy to John Lennon. He has real John Lennon vibes. He's actually, feels like you could actually get them mixed up frequency wise, very similar, and feels like they came from the same, cut from the same cloth. That's interesting. They were cut from the same cloth, so from the same star system. So as I'm seeing it, it's almost like a star system, a planet, a star that is important in our evolution of consciousness. And the souls that come from there, very, very, very different, very unique, very Marmite energy, coming in on the same frequency. And it's interesting as well, because when I was having lunch today, I keep talking about my lunch, he showed me, he compared John Lennon's relationship towards the end of his life with Paul McCartney to Rik's relationship with Ade Edmondson. It had very similar vibes. I have suspicions on some aspects of that maybe John and Rik were aware of certain things within the industry. Wink, 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 wink. Wink, nod, nod, wink. Anyway, and maybe their counterparts were aware of it but didn't want to say anything, or maybe, you know, they find something out, one wants to rebel and tell the world and drop hints for people, and the other one wants to roll it back because the other one's quite comfortable. That's my gut feeling on some aspect of why both those dynamics had issues. I know there was also other stuff that went on. What it did show me, and this is coming back to what I said a few minutes ago, was that there have been many souls that have come to the earth, especially famous souls, famous people, that come in disguise. So they're made really famous, and then all of a sudden they let it out, or they do something, or they nod, wink at something. And it's almost like they've come in cloaked. So the powers that were, society makes them famous, doesn't see what's coming. Because the truth is, if certain people get wind of what you can actually speak about, they'll sabotage you. So these souls come in, and they come in a different way. And he showed me people like John Lennon coming in via the Beatles, and then, you know, becoming famous, and then becoming John Lennon. That's interesting how I said becoming John Lennon, because he was John Lennon from birth. You know, same with Rik, through his stuff, and then becoming Rik Mayall. And then once they become that person, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Time is running out, of course. Diana was one of them as well. He showed me Diana as well. And the interesting thing was, when I went to get my book you've just seen, I was convinced I'd already started writing notes on Rik. I obviously hadn't. But when I picked it up, on my other channel, not this channel, and I don't think it's going to be happening on this channel, and please don't bug me about it, I'd done a list of conspiracy theories I was going to look at. And I know that a lot of conspiracy theories, there's elements of truth in it. On my other channel we were going to look at this. And one of the things I was going to look at was J Dando. I'm not going to say her full name, J Dando. It just, when you work with spirit, it's jigsaw pieces that get placed, that get scattered, and it's about weaving in the different strands of it, and the connection, the fact that that woman that we've just mentioned, Jill, she also had possibly an awareness of certain things, as many others did. So I then pulled some cards between myself and Rik. I always do this, don't ever take it personal. It's just something I do before I come on camera. And I got 6 of Wands, the card of victory. And I looked at that and I thought, And I pondered on it a bit. And what I got was, he was victorious in what he did. Often when somebody dies, especially when they're super duper famous or they've really touched our consciousness, we can question it and be angry that we've lost them too soon. There's a lot of that in relation to Rik, because a lot of people feel we lost him too soon. And we did, but he was victorious in his mission. And then we get the Chariot. He achieved what he came to do. He came in to do something, and he achieved it. I also then got this card here, which is the card of consciousness and present power, which was about getting people to step into their present power. To take back the power. Now, if you look at that, you won't be able to see that. But it's almost like, that's interesting. I saw it as chains. It's not chains, but it looks like, anyway. The chains that we'd been tied into, to unravel those chains. And almost say, no more. So, for humanity to step forward in their strength, where they're not fooled, enslaved, dependent on systems, structures, institutions, narratives, paradigms, all kinds of things. And I do feel as well that channeling Rik today, he was a controversial figure. So when you channel, it's really hard to censor them. And you shouldn't try and censor them, but he was a controversial figure, and some people can get easily triggered, I know. Not many people, to be honest. If you're clicking on this, you kind of, number 1, you're into channeling. Number 2, you're into truth. Number 3, you're into Rik because you won't watch it. Number 4, you're in, do you know what I mean? So, but he was a very out there character, and he wasn't here to mince his words. Put it that way. He wasn't here to dilly-dally. I'm hearing that. He wasn't here to dilly-dally. He was here to set the record straight. He was here to set the record straight. It's interesting. So when I asked him in my head, what do you mean by that? He's showing me the television, the entertainment industry. I'm hearing him say, he said to me, I took the piss a lot to wind them up. I took the piss a lot to wind them up. And now he's showing me him acting, and he's showing me different producers, directors, writers that he possibly didn't like, or felt questionable. I took the piss a lot to wind them up. He's saying there was some right, I'm going to have to swear, I apologise. There were some right arseholes. He's saying he worked with some right arseholes. When he came through and he was surrounded by this gorgeous garden. The most beautiful flowers, flowers that we don't even have on this earth, of the most beautiful colours. This garden was just full of streams, and this is a soul that's at peace, that's in their equilibrium. He just keeps saying freedom, freedom, freedom. Saying there's a lot of painful things coming, a lot of painful things that have already come, and a lot of painful things coming up. There's a lot of slur campaigns as well. There's a lot of slur campaigns. When I realised what the system was like, I felt guilty for being part of that system. And part of me being vocal about certain things was trying to balance that out, because I felt as though I'd been part of the problem. But since transition, realising that I actually was part of the solution, that I needed to be there in that role, to grab that attention, to then pass the messages on. He's then showing me a telly, and like a scene from Bottom where he just wants to smash it. He hates the telly. He's saying books, fine art, fresh air, it's get out. It's get out into the world, switch your tellies off and get out, 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 out. Speaking to people, dancing, taking drugs, whatever. I did warn you, this is not me, this is not me, I do not, but anyway. I do have to be careful because of YouTube, and you know that, don't you? Because YouTube is a bit of a wrist slapper, so please bear that in mind. He says that's the thing, the system just wants to and hold you in, and you don't realise it's happening. He said, you're not saying anything wrong. We're not saying anything wrong. And the system's made us feel that we've said something wrong. He said, get it, it all needs to come out. It all needs to come out. He said, humanity is so broken. I'm seeing him now in an office. It feels like somewhere like the BBC, and he's trying to tell somebody about something. It feels like it's in relation to abuse. But he was warned off. He said, you know, you have a feeling when you're going to go, and he knew when he was going to go. Was that in relation to an energy feeling that you knew you were going to go, or was it something else more sinister? He's saying I'd had the pulses. He's showing me him opening a letter. I'm not going to pry too much into it, but if it comes out organically in cards, then fair enough. I'm not going to pry into it, but there's a letter being sent. And then he's showing me him screwing it up and just chucking it. He says, the thing is, when you come in with this type of a mission, in this type of frequency, it's not for the faint-hearted. He hates the entertainment industry as well. And he says they're just getting so, they're worse and worse and worse. Goody two-shoes energy. Very bland. The films are bland. The comedy's bland. Everything's lost its colour and personality. Everyone wants to be part of the latest agenda, the latest movement. He's showing me like old-fashioned comedians. I'm talking like hundreds of years ago, that are stood on with the wooden plinths in the middle of villages, and I'm wondering if that's also a past life for him. But it's also connected to something that may be already here or that's coming, like a modern twist with new comedy that's coming, where more and more people are going to be stepping away from the big names in comedy. He's also showing me Ricky Gervais at this point. We'll come back to Ricky, we'll pin Ricky Gervais and come back to it. Well, he was another one, wasn't he? He was another one. If I let me write it down, because I have written the others down. Ricky Gervais. I'll put that down below. I possibly won't put titles on. I'll just put videos below without titles. There's a reason for it all. You will just have to go on and click on each video. But Ricky Gervais did something like the Oscars, where he basically smashed them to smithereens. He knows. And you know, people say, oh, he was taking the mick. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Ricky Gervais's energy, I know he can get really controversial, so we're apologising again for it. But his energy is, he's another one. So comedians that are coming in to do comedy there, it's weird, it's like it's going to go back to... I'm trying to describe what I'm seeing. It's almost like that vision, but coming into the modern world. A bit like the Shakespeare Globe being rebuilt and now being a place for Shakespearean plays and other plays, I think. Now he's showing me his head. I know he had a head injury from a quad bike accident. Was it an accident? Let's pull some cards on that. Pull some cards on that quad bike accident. Put my cards back in. Ooh, I've stopped shuffling. I've stopped shuffling to put the two cards back in, and I've landed on Five of Swords, which is, you know, there's a battle, he goes on to clear the battlefield, but he's also stealing something. There's something. Let's keep shuffling. Show me the energy behind, if you will, show me the energy behind the quad bike accident. Six of Cups, the past. The Queen of Swords, when would that have been? Queen of Swords, who's that? Do you know we get this a lot about females? And I always, would it wouldn't have been Thatcher, would it? The quad bike accident. I'll go Googling in a minute like we always do. But the Queen of Swords is about cutting ties. You know, she can come up in divorces when you're reading on divorces. She can come up when you need to cut cords to people. Three of Cups, a celebration. Now you could say, yes, but he may have had a skinful the night before. Ten of Cups. The Tower. I need to Google. Apologies. You're all Googling with me, I know. Right. Rik Mayall. Rik Mayall. Quad bike accident. Ninth of April 1998. 9th of April 1998. So this was before the Towers. That's interesting. That's just, sorry, that has just blown my mind, sorry. Because, you know, I've told you I had a friend that was killed, murdered. She actually went missing on the day he had his accident. 9th of April, 1998. So that was a pivotal date, that, for a lot of people. Page of Swords. How many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Restrictions, yeah, it's very interesting. We'll do one more. And the burden, something that we're carrying. Come to your own conclusions, trust your intuition. I'm wondering if, as well, also, if the head injury, because they do say sometimes you have a head injury and it opens up, it opens you up, it starts the process. Do you want to show us or say about the quad bike accident? He's pulling down a blind and he says blanking it out. I'm getting the words blank it out. Blanking it out. He's also showing me a certain bodyguard, oh, not that one again, certain bodyguard who also had amnesia after surviving a very famous car crash. Yeah? Yes? Yes? Who now works in, anyway, shush Claire, who now works in a very interesting company, that's all I'll say on that one. Jobs for the boys. Is what it is. Restrictions, controlling, the burdens, things we're carrying, a shock. Interesting. Right, let's move away from it. Because there is more to Rik than that. I've landed on the Hermit. What did you want to say about fun? Let's bring it back to fun. That laughter opens up many codes within the body. It opens up many portals within the body. Laughter is one of the greatest healers. Laughter helps with pain, it helps with disease, it helps with clearing energies within the body. He said if you think about laughter, when you have a belly laugh, you're moving, so you're There's a lot of people now talking about this on Instagram, where they do all the moving and the shaking down of the energy. He's saying laughter is the cure to all. More and more laughter. He's saying that's why they don't want you laughing, because when you regularly laugh, just think about the last time you really laughed and you really meant it. The last time you laughed at a piece of comedy that was funny, that wasn't ew, that wasn't weird, that wasn't odd. The last time you laughed at a piece in a book. There's not much laughter now, he's saying, at the minute. We've forgotten how to laugh. Showing me the young ones and students. I wonder with the connection students. It's saying you've all handed yourself, we all handed ourselves over. Everyone's handed themselves over to a system that doesn't work. He's saying it's crumbling. He says, and when you need to jump off, you jump off. He says there's many people holding on to jobs, places, whatever, narratives, and it's almost like, you know, the Titanic, when it, you know, like Jack and Rose on the Titanic, where they worked and they stayed on the Titanic till it went down. He said that's what many people are doing. They're holding on to the cruise ship until it goes down. But be careful. He's saying, you know, like Jack and Rose were fake. Don't let it suck you down. That's interesting. You know, when the ship went down, it sucked people, which is why the lifeboat men, what they're called, seamen, wanted to get away. Well, that's what they said anyway, to get away from the suction. He's saying, look at the world at the minute like the Titanic sinking. Get in your lifeboats. Do what you need to do. Don't dilly-dally. Don't stay on deck taking pictures. Planning. He said planning, planning, planning. But at the same time, do not go into fear. Be resourceful. Use your skills. Use abilities. Use your mind, not their mind. Embrace your personalities. Embrace your nerdiness. Embrace your dark. Embrace your light. Embrace your trauma. Stop hiding from yourselves. Stop suppressing yourself. Break out of the routines. He's showing me water, lakes, rivers, the sea. And he's showing us all going up there and washing our, I mean, some of the sea, let me tell you, you don't want to wash your face in the sea at the minute, especially in the UK, with all the shit that's in there. See, that's another thing, isn't it? Allowing the seas to become, what's Auntie Claire always said about the seas? The salt water is cleansing, and what's happened? What do we do about that then? We said there's still spaces where you can go. What's coming with the entertainment industry? Because many people are invested in it. Showing me the Olympic opening ceremony. Oh, God, that was another one. The Olympic opening ceremony. It's getting louder. He's saying more and more people are sat there, and he's showing you, we get uncomfortable. Ooh, he says everyone's starting to feel energy. Everyone. Even when you're not on a spiritual new age path or whatever, you may never have heard of crystals or tarot, but everyone is getting these pulses. It's happening organically, and he's showing me my position where my husband, Gary, loved the television. Like, that was his crutch. And it's him that has come out with all these ideas about getting rid of Sky, not doing the TV licence, not watching it. It's happened organically. I have not interfered whatsoever. This is happening organically. He says more people are going to be picking up books, craft tools. He says, you know the blackout's coming, don't you? We keep hearing about this. I know it's happening in different countries. He's saying it's going to be down to surges of energy. He says there's also something's been playing with energy as well. But there's going to be surges. It could be solar flares, magnetic storms that are coming in. And he's saying when this starts to happen, more and more people will start to light candles, talk around a candle. They'll huddle together. They'll share stories. They'll start re-remembering all these old aspects of them that did that in the bloodline that they've come from, but also past lives. Stop letting people tell you how to live. What you should be doing, what you should be saying, what you should be wearing. You're not meant to be boxed in. He said the reason for depression is because you're boxed in. You're not doing what you need to do. And you know that at some level. Stop comparing yourself to others. He's showing me now people scrolling on Instagram comparing yourself. Your children chose you. You know, parents, that's a big thing at the minute, is parents comparing themselves to other parents. Your children chose you for a reason. He's saying there's something with cartoons, and he's switching the telly off. There's something with cartoons. I'm not sure if these are movies or if it's certain cartoons. I know when my nieces were little, we once went round and they put Horrid Henry on. Vile little creature, honestly. And I remember we turned it off because he was just horrible. He was horrible, horrible, horrible. But he's showing me cartoons, so children in relation to television. Remembering that sounds and frequencies, colour, affect children. Showing me like a pre-World War II family that are going out with a picnic, a simple picnic. They're going out for a simple walk, simple toys, and modern day children needing this simplicity to come back. That's interesting. He's showing me children that maybe are diagnosed with ADHD or sensitivity, but it's to sound, to music. It's almost like he's saying if it's the right sound, they don't react like that. A lot of children that have been diagnosed with things, it's actually energies they're sensitive to, not an illness, okay? Don't doubt yourself. He's saying that to me because we doubt ourselves all the time. Don't doubt yourself. He said as this progresses, you're going to have to come back more and more to yourself. You're going to have to trust your intuition. You're going to have to trust you. Because you are going to be the one responsible for taking you forward. He's saying none of it's normal. None of it's normal out in the world at the minute. He said, honestly, the best thing is, he's showing again, switching off TV, switching off radio. I've got wind chimes, and they seem to be getting louder and louder during this video. Wind chimes, bird song, laughter. He's showing me now, like, grandfathers and possibly fathers as well that would do afternoons of comedy. I don't know if this is something he did in his... as a child, but he showed me like an older, like a grandfather. And again, it's like World War II energy, or pre-World or post-World War II, where on a Sunday afternoon they'd tell jokes. It was clean, it wasn't contaminated. Embrace you. Embrace your imperfections. Imagine if you could take away everything that restricts you, the bills, the responsibilities, the labelling, all of it. Rip it all back. That's you. That's you. You're not your responsibilities. You're not your pain, trauma. Reconnect back into that person, because that's what's going to have to be needed going forward. He's now showing me like a news at 10 breaking announcement in relation to a famous person. So is that something that's coming? I heard the words, it's something that Jill knew about. Yes. Shot on her doorstep. Yes. He's now showing me galactic heritages. people connecting back into their star systems. Do you know there's codes in his comedy? He's showing me codes in his comedy. There's codes. He held codes. He's saying people could sit down and watch like the young ones bottom and lose hours of their day and go, you know, and come to it. But it wasn't in a bad way. It wasn't in a way that is happening now. It was in a very different way. But he's showing me codes. He was able to pass on information. He's showing me his eyes. He said we're all doing all of these things. We just physically haven't realised it yet. That's interesting. He's showing me himself in the young ones. And he's showing me like a walking energy. To do that character. I'll show you him in the young ones for those of you. You see, I possibly will be doing pictures, but if I don't, here we are. Rik Mayall, young ones. Yeah. No, that's not the one. Where is it? Something in his smile as well. Three cards from this tarot deck, please, Rick. 3 cards from this tarot deck, please. The Emperor. Nine of Swords, which is anxiety, stress. Followed by the card of the powers that were with the humble peasants. Please, sir. More, sir. The King of Wands. The 3 of Wands. We'll do 4 actually. And the Moon. I want to keep going. Yeah, I'll do one more. And the 10 of Pentacles. Connecting back into your heritage. Your old ways. The structures of the world. The system that we've got in place now is not fit for purpose. It's not. This is humanity. Anxiety, stress, overwhelm, all kinds of things. You know, shit runs downhill, but also the energy of being told what they want you to know. We know that even like watching the news at the minute, there's no beginning, there's no end, there's just this obscure piece of news that comes on. It's like, what? That doesn't make sense. This card gives me the vibes of around the campfire. People having to come back together. Full circle as well. Standing in your power. Going forward. Eyes on the future. That's interesting. I know the Moon card does have 2 towers on it. But the towers, yes. That was the start of a lot of people's awakening. Because that was the start when you went, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. When the world went, oh, because it was so, but that was kind of also needed. Do you want to talk about that? Can we talk about that in a way that works? Saying I knew from the start. I saw right through it. I'd seen many games being played, and he's showing me like puppet master energy. People have a right to know. They have a right to know what goes on in their world. I don't know if you're able to hear that, but there's a plane going over this house right now. He's showing me the people of New York that morning, and many people felt it coming. Because I'm seeing different people waking up, all at different places, all from different lifestyles, backgrounds, feeling like an impending doom energy. Everything I said in that video was true. There was a lot more that I could have said. And many people have taken it on from me. It's almost like he passed the baton energetically. He said that's how it works, you see. You come, you plant some seeds, you go, and then people water them. And then somebody else plants some seeds, and they learn from your seeds. And that's how it's meant to happen. Not one person is meant to bring all the information. Different people in different parts of history have planted different seeds to eradicate the other seeds that were planted. So as one frequency drops in some negativity, another frequency comes in to flip it or to draw attention to it. So many people feel lost and overwhelmed with all of this, and they don't know how to process it, they don't know how to make sense of it. It makes them feel scared. He said people then stop on their... And this can happen to everyone. It happens to every single one of us. Because it can be scary and overwhelming and exhausting when you start to sense the world that you lived in. Interesting. Because we're going into a different world. The world that you lived in was... The world that you lived in was corrupted, fragmented, dishonest, impure. But it's ending now. He's showing me, like, you know, when somebody holds a door open for you and they say, would you like to come in? It's like the door to new earth. Would you like to come in? He said you don't have to sit and watch every bit of truth bombing out there. You don't have to lose yourself in it. But don't ignore it. Because even if somebody gets some information, it's slightly wrong or it's off kilter, there's still elements of truth in it. But there's this door that's also opening the new earth. He's saying Earth's very noisy at the minute and many people are shaking. It's almost like they're trying to hold... And we've got all of us have got this aspect within us. And needing to just be patient with that. Be patient. There's lots of people getting frustrated, he's saying, because there are many people that still appear to be asleep. But be patient. Because it's pandemonium. If everybody went woof at the same time. Don't also forget as well, there was a time when somebody looked at you and thought you were asleep. And even on your awakening journey, you can still have moments where you go, this is too much for me. I need to go back to sleep for a while. And we mustn't judge people when they do that. It's a bit, I've said this myself away from the channeling. It's a bit like when somebody's asleep and you shake them awake and they wake up and they're all, oh, get off me. And they go back to sleep and they really go back to sleep and they're angry with you. Rather than them organically waking up in their own centre. And then all of a sudden somebody gets tired and I need to go back to sleep again because I'm exhausted with this. So someone can switch off. They can start watching movies. They can start watching movies again, or I don't know. They can start watching a certain entertainer again or whatever, because actually it gets too much, it gets too overwhelming, and that's also a stage of it. Card for those watching. Fragmented energy. Fragmented energy. And joyous fun. The need to bring back fun, childhood fun, enjoyment, giggles, belly laughing, because our fragmented energy, you're getting pulled in all directions via news, media, social media, music. You're getting pulled apart. You're getting encouraged to come against each other. Fragmented energy. We're not whole. And this is about calling in those lost pieces. That's interesting. The fragmented pieces, the pieces of the jigsaw, are on what looks like puppet master strings. It's about snipping those strings. And also, was what he's saying, it's okay not to have all the answers as well. It's okay to see something on the news and go, that don't feel right, without knowing it. You'll often get that. What's happening, especially when somebody knows you're on an awakening path. What is it, what's happening, or they think you're psychic or whatever, and you think, I don't know. Because you're not meant to know everything, because there's a lot of darkness out there. Joyous fun. The answer is fun. The answer is playfulness. You know, you look at books as well. It's happening in books. I'm a reader. I'm noticing it in books. They're getting darker and darker and more questionable. You look at the books our grandparents would have been reading, great-grandparents. You look at the films they would have been watching. Everything was wholesome. Even if it was a bit smutty, it was still wholesome. I'm being shown the Carry On films now. It wasn't, you didn't feel contaminated when you'd read it or watched it. You felt... Whereas now you watch something, you read something, and you can feel a bit afterwards. Fragmented energy, calling back in your energy fragments. Not losing ourselves in the ocean of drudgery that's out there. What else wants to come through? It's showing me the Pied Piper. Why would it be showing me the Pied Piper? Let me Google it. Pied Piper. The Pied Piper. What is that? I don't know the story of the Pied Piper. I need to listen. I need to read. Apologies. You've been watching me while you know Google. The Pied Piper of Hamelin, also known as Pan Piper or the Rat Catcher, is a character of a legend from the town of Hamelin, Lower Saxony, Germany. The legend dates back to the Middle Ages. The earliest references describe a piper dressed in multicoloured piped clothing who was a rat catcher hired by the town to lure the rats away. With his magic pipe, when the citizens refused to pay for this service as promised, he retaliated by using the instrument's magical power on their children, leading them away as he had the rats. This version of the story spread as folklore and has appeared in the right rewritings, writings of Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, probably said that wrong, the Brothers Grimm and Robert Browning, among others. The phrase Pied Piper has become a metaphor for a person who attracts a following through charisma or false promises. Oh, when I saw the Pied Piper, I've heard of it but I didn't know the story behind it. I was like, I don't need to say that to them. But I got no, told them the story of the Pied Piper. Now there's so much to read in that, it's controversial. There are many contradictory theories about the Pied Piper. Some suggest he was a symbol of hope to the people of Hamelin who had been attacked by plague. He drove the rats from Hamelin, saving people from the epidemic. Theories. There's a lot to, there is a lot to unpack here. We've got children, we've got things happening to children, we've got disease, we've got plague, we've got planes again. Now I know I live near, I always call it, what's it called? It's like Maverick round here, Top Gun, but this we haven't had for a while. So we had the plane, didn't we, in the towers. Think about the Pied Piper. Not letting things lure your children, the television, entertainment. I'm having to be very careful what I say. Not letting us be lured away. There's something in that Pied Piper as well on a deeper level. Immigration, there's issues around immigration at the minute. An overpopulation. He's trying to tell us something. Read between the lines. I can't go too far. Overpopulation. It's all here. Google it yourselves. Just sit with it. Some theories have linked the disappearance of the children to mass psychogenic illness in the form of dancing mania, the disappearance of children. He knows how to pack a punch, this gentleman. Dancing mania outbreaks occurred during the 13th century. Interesting. The thing is, everything's interconnected. There's so much to unpack. It's unreal. Can I have some cards on this Pied Piper? My throat's gone really dry. That's the thing, isn't it? It squeezes you when you're the Pied Piper. Three cards on that. Let's go further into it. Either the Two of Wands, the Knight of Wands at the bottom, the Greed, the Vision of the powers that what. I know it's the card of the Hierophant, but it's also got ceremonial robes, Masonic robes. I'm not saying that all Masons, I'm not saying that. I am really not supposed to not twist what I'm saying, but there are many secrets within the world, secret groups of people. These cards, you don't even need to be a tarot reader to know this, to even be able to see that one, you know, the elite's vision, the rich's vision for humanity. Greed, looking out for their own interests. The groups. Right, okay, fair enough. Guidance for humanity then, please. Guidance for humanity. He knew his stuff. Guidance for humanity. Guidance for humanity. Magician. Ooh, the devil. The light and the dark. The battle that we're in now at the minute. Wanting to hold on to the old structures, regimes. They wouldn't do that to us. The light coming in, having to stand in your magician power. Unbreaking the shackles. the hermit, the deep, the spiritual journey. Because let's take this away from truth, because it's okay to know about truth, it's okay to know that things aren't as what they seem, but also please let's keep the spiritual perspectives here of then stepping into a spiritual path. The deeper meaning, looking for your deeper meaning, trusting and following your own light. And I'm not saying you can't trust anybody out in the world, but this is all about coming back to self. The King of Wands to take things forward. The Wheel of Fortune, things can change. And wishes can be fulfilled. Guidance for humanity at this stage, please, Rik. Guidance for humanity at this stage. He's showing me himself as a teacher in a past life. He was in a scene. He's in a scene. Guidance for humanity. The loving woman. The rising divine feminine. Optimism. The rising divine feminine. The rising divine masculine as well. The new earth. The Empress energy. Mother Gaia, Mother Earth. Coming back to natural, wholesome ways of being. Natural, wholesome books. Natural, wholesome theatre productions, natural, wholesome conversations, wholesome meals, wholesome homes, wholesome families. This is all coming back to that. Bringing as much wholesomeness, that's me being a freak with words, by the way, as you can. Bringing as much light as you can into your life. Watching our thoughts, what are we watching on TV? What to watch on TV? That old chestnut again. What is true? Okay, he's talking about, now I know this with the shamanic work, that the screen of your TV can act like a mirror and it can actually be a portal. So if you watch a lot, he's saying if you watch a lot of horror, a lot of gossip, a lot of low vibrational telly, because there is stuff like, you watch, I don't know, All Creatures Great and Small, it's wholesome. You know, Downton Abbey, wholesome. Unless they'll ruin it, they'll probably ruin it at some point. They'll bring something in that makes it tacky, but anyway. Oh, you watch a 1950s film with Marilyn Monroe in it, it's wholesome. You watch a nice Christmas wholesome old-fashioned film, you're fine. But if you're watching a lot of heavy stuff, news, darkness, horrors, gossip, low vibrational television, you can open your telly up as a portal that can connect to lower vibrational planes, he's saying. So it's not just about what you watch, it can also be a portal. He said about how electronics work when they can connect. I know he reminded me of this morning, I didn't realise why. I remember my first ever shamanic client. It wasn't my first one actually. It was when I did case studies for my training. And she came in. And I used to have a radio playing, not the radio, a little music station with Zen music on. You know, relaxing music. And we were talking about things and all of a sudden, it got turned up. And she sensed something came next. It was a bad galactic, dark galactic, heavy galactic. They can use telly, radio to connect. So again, it's this thing. Smash up your tellies. Don't. Well, do. Play it again. I mean, I sit here a lot and it's very rare I'll say, just a minute, there's a plane going over. This video with Rik, we have had a plane going over this house nearly constantly. The minute we started talking about the towers, increase, cycles, breaking cycles, stepping out of doom and gloom. Which, oh, thanks for that, Rik, after telling us all that doom and gloom, but not staying there. We know what's going on to an extent. We now need to start concentrating on the rebuilding of New Earth, rebuilding of your new personal Earth, rebuilding of your new life. What have we learned from that? I won't watch that again. I won't do that again. I won't get behind that again. I'll do more of this. Stepping out of a lack of abundance, poor me energy. You must step out of poor me, little old me energy, because little old me is not going to get you through this. And back and forth, which is a big part of the awakening journey, and many people will experience it. So let me explain it. The seesaw, you start going back and forth between awakened and asleep, and you go back and forth, because in the 3D life, there's things you like. You may love your movies, you may have loved a certain entertainer, or you may have loved a certain family, or you may have loved a certain thing, or you may have loved to go out for a drink with the girls, or whatever. And obviously you start to awaken and things change, and you start to realise that possibly wasn't for your highest of good. But you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until eventually you go, this needs to stop. I need to be better now. I am ready. So being ready, back and forth, intention. Not getting trapped in that back and forth. You can't, he's saying you can't have it all. I've been here. I know what this feels like, where you think you can go on your awakening journey, but you can still have a bit of that as well. You can still play in that paradigm, put it that way, because you can't you? It'll be fine. It's not dark, is it? And you can't, and back and forth, you can stay stuck there. And conflict. We are in choppy waters. People are going to get angrier. And many people, he's saying, know that it's true. And that's a big reason why they blow at people when they come out with stuff. He's bringing my attention back to that film he did about the towers, where if you've seen, I think it's him, another man and a girl. And the woman is they're talking about something, and she calls them something theorists and blows at him and the other fella. And there was so much in that clip of people's fear, and it's in conflict. What do we do now? Where do we go from this? When things have been your crutch, whatever it has been, and you take that out, it's like taking the foundations of a house out of it, it'll crumble. But that's what we're meant to do. We're meant to crumble and then rebuild again. The great unravelling, the great untangling, and letting go. Not getting pulled back in. One more card for this part, and great achievement. This can be achieved. This brings me back to his speech he did at the graduation ceremony about achievement and about, just go listen to it. Like I said, I'll put all the clips below. I won't title them. I'll just put YouTube clips in between, underneath each other. And you'll just have to click on them and watch them. They are, don't be put off by truth bombs, because they're really, really enlightening. And there's a lot of healing. The Ricky Gervais stuff as well, I'll put that on for you if I can find it. This isn't people trying to piss you off, he's saying. It's not people. I'm wondering if people felt as though towards the end of his life he was pissing people off and people got pissed off with him, maybe. It's almost like it's energy if it's for your own, it's for humanity's own good. Nobody said any of this was going to be easy. And actually he's saying it's no one's fault that's here. He's saying this started, a lot of this started a long time ago. And it's been, you know, he said you can pass the baton for good work. You can also pass the baton for the bad work. He's saying that, do you know, he's not the only one to say this. There's a cosmic event coming. Let me just get these cards out of the way because they're distracting me. There's a cosmic event coming. Let's have a tune into this cosmic event that's coming. taking me back to the Pied Piper. The Pied Piper was an analogy for a lot of things that are going on in our world at the minute. He's saying the Pied Piper was also a download, as are a lot of our mythical stories, foretellings, predictions. It was a symbolism of a lot of events. He says that's the tricky thing about that kind of stuff. They can be very obscure. It's coded as well. What's this cosmic event that's coming? He's showing me the moon and the moon gets blacked out. Well, I don't think it was the sun, it's the moon and something goes in front. Is it? Would it be a lunar eclipse? There's a lunar eclipse and he's showing me what looks like 3-4 stars above it. It's one of the biggest ones Earth's had, and it's coming in the future, or as in future as in linear time. There's lots of purging that comes from it. There could even be this could even be when some of the blackouts become more increased. And a lot of old codes are going to be unearthed. He's showing me Stonehenge and like a swirling energy. So good. Energy coming back into our energy centres. So the pyramids, Tor. No, I won't name them because people get offended when I start naming things and forget something in their country. So I'm not going to name them. But the big energy centres of our world start coming back. There's an illness coming for someone who is a well-known person, and it ripples out. He's an older man. I mean, aren't they all at the minute? Shh. I'm shushing me, not Rick. He's an older man. I'm getting vibes round, what's his name? Let me get him up. I think he's going to pass soon. Something, it's either him or it's others, somebody connected into that there's an illness coming that brings about change in some way. Put it this way, it's one of the big rollers, one of the big names out there. Could be him or somebody very closely connected, and it's almost like I'm seeing like a domino effect. Throat's gotta go. Was something wrong with his throat? Rik Mayall throat. Something with the throat and him. That's interesting. I didn't know that. He was actually Harry Potter. However, once he arrived on set, Mayall's naturally funny presence started to cause problems. See what I mean? With many of the children laughing too much while filming, I played the part of Peeves, but I got sent off set because every time I tried to do a bit of acting, all the school kids kept getting the giggles. Now the throat could be somebody trying to stop you talking. throat chakra. I'm wondering if, because I'm thinking of somebody else at the minute in the world who has an issue with their voice, that is doing a lot of vocalising of things. Because I did a reading on him on my other channel, which I don't do now. Let's not go there. It's now a booktube channel. And after I'd finished my voice, I could barely talk. And I don't know if it was a client afterwards. I went and I said, I'm sorry, my voice, and I explained why. And I'm sure she said that there's possibility that there's attacks on the throat chakra to keep him quiet. Anyway, what a roller coaster. Do you know we could do a part 2 of this? I don't even think we've scratched the surface. Rik, what else can you talk about? He's saying time. He's pointing to his clock. Not because that's interesting. I've got honouring the path, supportive connections and professional assistance, and great gratitude. Time, the clock. It's not because he wants to go, is it? Why are you showing us time? Show us what's the mean. Ooh, time's running out because people are playing it safe. Those that are playing it safe, time's running out. The status quo. The time's running out. The days of going la 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 la. I'm all right, Jack. I don't want to look at that. That's running out because it's getting more and more intense. Time's running out. Tick tock, tick tock. Consciousness of lack. It's getting harder there in those frequencies. Fragmented energy, being pulled in all directions, and needing to stay in your present power. There's also something with time and ascended masters. It's now time to go higher. There's something else with time. Time as we know it is changing. Time as we know it is changing. He's now showing me that issue we had with Big Ben a few weeks ago when it glitched. When the horses had their moment as well. Glitches in electrical equipment, glitches in time, lost time. It's almost like as they steer us into new dimensions. He's saying, you know, those of you that are having moments where you're losing hours or minutes or days, or he's saying a lot of people are being taken by their guides and having a meeting with guides where they're talking with guides about where, like it's like end of life review, but it's like midlife review. Because there's been so many changes, the guides have to switch everything off or to get our attention. Excuse me. He's saying there's a big rebellion coming. And he's saying, had I got right behind it, had I been alive. It's almost like this is the part that really wishes he could get behind it. He's not talking about the protests that are happening in the UK. It's not that. He said, oh, that's distraction. He said, when the rebellion comes, it won't be violence. When the real rebellion comes, when the spiritual rebellion comes, it's not going to be violence. It's not going to be buildings being burnt, and it's not going to be that. And that's what's going to be scary about it, because it's going to be silent. It's going to be frequency. It's going to be downing of tools. I'd even go as far as to say many people are going to stop working to bring everything to a halt. He said it's already starting now. People refusing to comply, to play the game. 2026. He's saying put that year in your diary because it's going to be an explosive. Not as a bomb, it's going to be explosive. 2026, put that date in your diary. Can you share what's coming in 2026? He's just saying, he said lots, it's not one thing, it's lots of things. And he's showing people pulling their hair out, not physically. He said, you ain't seen nothing yet. 2026. He's seen bang, 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 bang. He said a lot of the television corporations are going to collapse. I don't know if that's 2026 or... he said he felt contaminated being part of the TV industry. Let's have a tarot card for... You got us intrigued now. Let's have a tarot card for 2026 and then we might have to wrap this up, but we will do a part 2. 2026, Rik, what's coming? Show us. 3 cards. 5 of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles at the bottom. The Moon. The 10 of Wands. We'll do one more. 10 of Cups. I wonder if that's when the rebellion starts. I wonder if that's when you'll see this spiritual rebellion that's coming. And he said a lot of you are sat there going, oh, 2026, that's ages away. He said it isn't, remember, with the time. Yeah, it's when, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, the underdog, it's when people have had enough. They've been suppressed and kept out for too long. They've been, your money's been taken off of them. It's the great uprising. The tower's there as well, the shadow, the burdens that have been carried, and we now know more and we want more, and this is the new earth energy, the higher frequencies coming down, enlightenment happening. We have a card for 2026. Dark thoughts, but it's like a rich man with a top hat on, the elite, wanting to take people down dark avenues, but the ascended masters. It's frequency, it's something frequency related. It's something that we can't break away from. It's something to do with an energy shift, maybe this lunar eclipse, professional assistance, you know, maybe more and more things are seen, galactics and things, honouring the path, more and more people realising, oh, we're not meant to be here doing this and suffering, and connections, people coming together. 2026 is going to be an important energy, the loving man. We've had the rising divine feminine, and we mustn't also forget the rising divine masculine, because in order to have a balanced awakening, we need the feminine and the masculine frequencies to be in harmony. There's a lot of more we can say in this video, but I'm conscious of how long we've spent here. Final messages from Rik to those watching. What time we're on? 1 hour 24. I'll post this and leave it a couple of days, 2 or 3 days maybe, so people can watch it. So when you've watched this, you possibly won't see a video from me for 2 or 3 days afterwards, to give you a chance to watch it. Final messages. He's just like, he like threw out this board game and it was like a chessboard. And he's picking up a piece and he says, you move your own piece. Don't let anybody move your chess piece. You be in charge of your piece. He's writing something as well. He's still connecting to people and helping people from where he is. Liberation can feel overwhelming. it can feel tiresome and out of reach. It can be easy or feel easy to stay where one is. But that's not the way life should be. You have a path to walk down in your life, a path that is unique to you. Let nobody block your path. Let nobody hold you back. Let nobody derail you or mock you. And know that each one of you is loved unconditionally. Each one of you is unique, special, valued and seen. And when you finally realise just how special and unique you are, the game changes forever. There's no going back. And with that, I send you my love, and I will see you again soon. And with that, he's going. Red hot. Red hot. This room gets warm on an afternoon. My gym is just through that window, and there's some. He's in there tapping. Again. And he stood in front of the sun, and the sun is just glowing down at him into his eyes. Is he telling us this, to stand in front of the sun with your eyes closed, without sunglasses on, without your sun hat on, and to just stand, even if it's just a morning, even if it's just for a couple of seconds or a minute, to stand there and allow the sun to come into the third eye, allow the sun into the consciousness, into the chakras, and breathe in that light, keep breathing in that light. It's activity in the conservatory. Thank you for watching. Clips will be down below. Possibly we'll do a part 2 with this, but I never put pressure on myself because maybe somebody else will be speaking to soon. We will get back into doing these channelings as and when they come, and you can't just pull people off a shelf. Yeah, thank you for watching. What should we put for... if you got to the end of this video and you want to comment but not sure what to put, leave me a... I'm thinking a microphone for speaking your truth. Like, comment, share and subscribe. Clips will be below, they won't have titles. And yes, there is a channeling playlist on here where I have channelled a range of people from different backgrounds. There are some controversial figures on there that may make you go, ugh, what has she done that for? I only channel people when they can bring through some teaching, whether they've had dark lives, light lives, inspirational lives. There is some criminal or people that took on the soul contracts of criminals in their incarnation. Don't run from those channelings because there's information in there and healing, because everyone has something to bring to the table in this evolution of consciousness. Thank you for watching. There's also the shamanic playlist. Yeah, we're going to, like I said, we're starting to build on this channel again. Thank you for watching. Love to all. See you later. And bye for now. Bye.